Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the 33 1/3 show. It's December. We also have winter solstice coming. And in this winter time, I kind of like to hibernate and read my books and do a bit of creativity. Because it feels like everything's going to sleep, doesn't it? That the whole planet is. The plants, the animals, the birds. Yet, I often love walking in the winter time and going and seeing the foxes running around. Well, they're normally about night time. I do like a nighttime walk to go and look at the stars. And I've been watching Orion rising the last couple of months, trying to spot Sirius, but I haven't quite seen that yet. I don't know if it's because our landscapes, we've got too many trees, so it's kind of still hiding behind it. But definitely in these last few weeks, the skies have been phenomenal, nice and clear, and trying to work out which stars follow which star system and which stars are part of which constellation. I find quite fascinating. I got myself a star map many years ago and try and link them up, and I've got one of those circular planetarium star maps where you work it out at what time it is of the day that you're standing in and what month and what week, and it tells you which stars are in the sky. But I know for many of you, because I've talked to people about this, if you're living out in the city, it's quite difficult to go and see the stars because of all the street lights and such like. Though maybe the councils are going to try and save money this winter and keep the lights off. I've heard a lot of places their Christmas lights are only staying on from, 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night and not staying on all night. So we might get a better chance of seeing the stars. And what wondrous thing to go wandering at night looking at the star systems and the stars shining down on you and picking up their rays that they're sending to us. For those of you that are into the esoteric work, you know that all the planets affect us. They're sending certain vibrations down upon us, and so are them stars that are coming from far, far away. Energy travels at a much faster rate than, I think light myself. I think it's, everyone's going on about the speed of light. I think it's the speed of energy should be looked into and how vibrations are passed on. And I know that the astronomers say all them stars that we are looking at are meant to be billions of years ago, that light that we're looking at. Well, still that energy that would have been there is still coming through at a faster rate and will be affecting us. And Gurdjieff used to say about go and study the sun, but as it's rising, I think it's in All and Everything. Yeah, I'm sure it is in Beelzebub's Tales. Beelzebub's telling Hussein, stand and await the sun as it's rising and get its fantastic energies. And of course, with it being winter time, we have a better opportunity of doing that because it's rising later every morning. Don't have to get up super early. So hopefully many of us can go and await the sun, welcome the sun in. In the old ancient Egyptian mythologies, it was the baboons used to walk out and be beckoning in the sun as it's rising every morning. Them cheeky baboons with their cheeky monkey faces taking in all that sun energy, which is what Beelzebub was encouraging Hussein to do. Remember, we're the Husseins, so Beelzebub, who's Gurdjieff. We go watch the sunrise every morning, let them solar energies come into us and emanate into us and help turn us into the solar being we wish to be. Winter solstice is coming. Here's a track from Sandsnowman. It's called Solstice. Now, Rudolf Steiner talks about when winter comes upon us. Actually, that's the most active time of nature. And at first I took that, thought he was, saying things a bit odd, as I often do when I first read Rudolf Steiner. It sometimes feels like he's got it a bit backwards, but then as I read further in, it kind of begins to make sense what he's saying. That he's saying that, the elementals that are living in the plants, the soil, the rocks, in everything, there's elementals living in everything, they work harder at winter time because they're preparing everything for when spring comes and going forth and growing and becoming the buds and being the creative creatures that they are. All their little baby animals and such like, they're all preparing themselves during the winter time. I'd always thought of winter as being the time that everything goes to sleep and hibernates, which maybe the animals do, but he's saying the elementals, all them gnomes and them dwarves and them little pesky pixies and such like, and the sylphs, and I've missed one out. But they are the ones that are going forth, continuing the work, preparing everything for the year to come. And I'm going to remind everybody that with solstice is the change of the lion and the unicorn. I've done a little show which I'll stick a tag to at the end of. And so since we are now coming to the winter solstice, it's coming to be the end of the unicorn reign, and the lion will take over because he's preparing to bring forth the new life, the new world, the new year. 2023 should be quite an exciting year, as every year should be. We've been going through a bit of a shit show these last few years, and I can see that people are blossoming and becoming more positive and want to go forth and do the things that they are, because hopefully that fear factor of the last few years has gone on a wane. Still people, the dark forces will still try to put forward their diabolical agenda, but we must live forth, spring forth in the light. And I know many people go, oh, live in light. It is difficult when we're going up against the dark forces, but we must send them the love and light. Many people want to go into a battle. I'm hoping it won't be an actual physical battle, but with a spiritual battle, the only way we can defeat the dark forces is through forgiveness of them and their actions, and help them perhaps redeem themselves. Well, yes, definitely redeem themselves. Not even a perhaps. These dark forces need to redeem themselves. But during the winter, obviously plans are being hatched. And dark forces are hiding away, planning their next hit. And we must prepare ourselves and use this winter time to strengthen our spiritual warrior-like ways, which is why I'm recommending to everyone, go and watch the sunrise, go and watch the sunset as well, feel them energies, and feel that solar power coming to you, for the sun is the Christ. Though many people go, oh no, not Christianity. I'm not talking about Christianity, the religion. I'm talking about that Christ energy that's within the sun that can shine down upon us. And Gurdjieff is trying to help us become solar beings. May the sun shine upon you, and may the sun shine and radiate out of you. And with this winter time, as I was saying, it's an opportune time to go and watch the sunset and the sunrise. And now a little poem by Wayne. It's called Jade, Maiden of the Blue Sky.
When winds blow cold thoughts into my soul, she winds her icy cloak around my shoulder and whispers secrets of the frozen air, whilst pine trees sparkle in shadowless noon. And when clouds thicken and the snow falls, I am lost in a world of unstained beauty. As dawn sparkles on fields of pure white, she spans the sky as blue as her crystal eyes. I see her moving like a silent poem through the day that mellows into evening, following the cycles that run through our lives, like pearls strung on a thread of pure gold. Time is lost and all becomes a passing dream, dark night, frozen beauty, my life in hers. Bright moon's halo over solid lake of radiance. She stings my ears with her poignant song, as silent as the snow-laden hills in the distance. She shelters the sleeping springtime seeds beneath her protective blanket of ice. I once thought I'd caught a glimpse of her, white dress and long golden hair, scattering frost along the valley as she danced her way through winter.
I like to use these winter periods to read the books. I always stockpile books during the year ready for winter and read the books that I want to read, not the ones that I'm being told to read, but read the ones that help me develop myself and help me on my path. And hopefully you're finding the right books to help you. It's all, big bookworms. I was told I could read before I could talk, so I find that quite interesting. I was very lucky when I was younger that I lived near a library, so I got to go to the library. I used to enjoy going to the library every day and getting my books out, or as often as I could. But maybe I was a bit of a fast reader. I used to speed read through books and maybe not take the content in properly, where I've learned in the last few years that I need to read, as Gurdjieff would say, to fathom the gist of what's actually being told. And with Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson by George Ivanovich Gurdjieff, he tells us to read it in 3 ways. First, read it like a newspaper. Secondly, read it to somebody else, because that helps people to, obviously other people like to be read to, but it's also putting that, the story out there into the ether. And then it will carry on growing in the ether. And then the third time is to read it to fathom the gist. And many of us just read books thinking we're taking in bits that I think it's called selective reading, like selective hearing. We only read the bits, or take in the bits that are opportune to us at that time, or relevant to us at that time, which is why sometimes rereading books can be a revelation. You think, I don't remember that bit in that book last time, because that bit that you didn't remember was probably not relevant at the time. But we learn from our books and our writings, and thankfully we've had these teachers to put it out for us there, and to help us to understand the ancient wisdom. And with wintertime, it's a fantastic opportunity to read them books, like I say, whether you get them from the library or listen to a download, to let that message from them esoteric books sink into you. Winter's, like I was discussing earlier, is the hibernating time, and the energies are coming down and settling within us. We're not being running around madly enjoying the summer. So we've got an opportune moment to take in them messages, them lessons that are being given to us by the teachers of the ancient wisdom. We can marinate on it as we marinate our foods that we're going to enjoy during the winter times, and have our solstice feasts and our winter Christmas feasts and our New Year feasts. What a great way to celebrate everything, by having a feast with our beloved friends and our beloved family and all the beloveds that are out there. You are all my beloveds. So we're eating not just the physical food, but we're also eating in all the ancient wisdom and esoteric lore that's being given to us by the books that we are reading or the videos that we're watching. Try not to watch too much fear porn, peoples. That just brings it to a lower vibration. We want to be higher vibration. Try and watch positive, uplifting stuff that helps you to develop yourself, rather than puts you into a fear factor or takes you down thinking none of this is worth it. It is worth it. We've got to not let ourselves be put down by the fear factor that's out there, and the fear porn or porn fear. I can never remember which ways to say it. But people like to shock us sometimes being shocked makes us get up and do our esoteric work. But we want to try and form out there the kind of world we want to live in. And if we're sitting here worrying about what's to come, or worrying about what the dark forces are, we're putting them thought forms out there. Instead, we need to work on ourselves and put out thought forms that we're going to live in the kind of world that we want to be living in. And I know that all sounds airy-fairy and new age, but thought forms are an important part of our way of thinking and being. What we think, we put out there. As Rudolf Steiner reminds us all the time, that if you're hating somebody, but you don't want them to know it, but you think it, you're still hurting them. You're still shooting them with a dagger or a gun, but it's a thought form one, so it's still killing them. So working on our thought forms is difficult because we've been patterned and programmed and told that our thoughts are our own and are private, but they're actually not, because they're going into the etheric world, into the etheric realm, and up into the Akashic record as well, and affecting everything that's going on. I've got the clock is chiming away behind me. I wanted to remind people that bells are a fantastic thing for dispelling dark forces. Have a little bell bath, or just ding a bell before you do a meditation, or ding a bell just to start your day. Ding a bell before you go to bed. If you can get a nice sounding one, whether it's a Tibetan singing bowl or just a ding-dong bell. Though it's nice to have the right sound, a comforting sound, because, as I say, bell sounds dispel the demons and the dark forces, it keeps them away, but also it sets our body to a certain vibration. So if you find the one that you enjoy, you can get all these kinds of different bowls, singing bowls and different bells. Find the one that suits you. Or just go and record some church bells or something and play that. But it helps. They're obviously having actually now I've said that, I've just suddenly thought, well, recording, that's still maybe not as natural as it should be, but I'm sure it still has an effect on one. But we want to attune our bodies, our minds and our hearts to a higher vibration. And the sounds of bells, gongs and such like help us to do that. They keep the vibration just right. I often wonder what William Blake would have made of the last few years. Would he have been caught up in this whole shit show and followed along and taken the jabby-dabby-doos, or would he have seen through it all and perhaps been a free spirit? I don't really know, but one thing I do know is that I enjoy his art, I enjoy his poetry. Well, enjoy's the wrong word, because some of it's very revelatory, isn't it, and can be quite sad, but at the same time revealing. It shows us what kind of real world we're living in. But William Blake is inspiring, he's a great visionary, and I do recommend his, well, obviously his art, his poetry, and his prophets, his books of prophecy. I love his mythology and cosmology of what he's created. And we have here Katy, Carr and Helen from the William Blake congregation singing a little William Blake ditty.
I've got this one. I have no name, but I'm 2 days old. What shall I call thee, happy as I am? Joy is my name, sweet
Freedom of speech means a lot to me, and it should to you, because without it, we wouldn't know what was really going on. We've got to remember that our world is run on lies and statistics. Though most statistics are made up on the spot. And we need to remember that there are those out there who are truth seekers, and that there are people who try to reveal the truth and they get punished for it. Because, the dark forces run this world. The demiurge does not like us finding the truth about it. He wants us to believe that we're all kept up like in the Matrix film. We all think we're living the right life when really we're being lied to. And one way for them stopping us finding out the truth of anything is to take away our freedom of speech, which is something that's been really bumped up in the last few years, during this recent shit show of the last few years. They want us stopping having freedom of speech, take away our rights, and we are no longer free men and women. Not that we are anyway, unless we wake up. Here's Debbie B. She's one of the great protesters for Julian Assange.
Free Assange! No extradition! Home by Christmas!
May your solstice bring you joy as you go forward into the new year. May your Christmas bring you the Christ energies that you may go forth in love and compassion. May your new year into 2023 bring you dreams, wishes and hopes that send you forth on the right path. I'd like to thank all the artists that have contributed to this show. All rights remain with them. And I'd like to thank all you people that listen, and thank you for watching, and if possible, tell others about this little show, because I'd like to put more people's music in. So if you know anybody that wants to be involved, whether it's music or poetry, get in touch. Peace and love to you all, and may 2023 give us the world that we want to see.